Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I am Uzma Jafri. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 20th of December. India-Russia hold joint military exercise in northwestern India. Pakistani court reserves verdict in corruption references against Nawaz Sharif. And Sri Lankan President names new 30-member cabinet. And now for all the details. A joint military exercise between the air forces of India and Russia concluded in India's northwestern desert city of Jodhpur on Wednesday. More than 30 aircrafts from both the air forces took part in the exercise, which aimed to exchange tactics, techniques and procedures towards enhancing operational capability.
The Air Forces of India and Russia recently participated in a joint military exercise, Avia Indra 2018, in Jodhpur city of India's northwestern Rajasthan province to exchange tactics, techniques and procedures towards enhancing operational capability. The exercise that concluded on Wednesday was aimed at enhancing cooperation and understanding between the Indian Air Force and Russian Federation Aerospace Force in conducting counter-terrorism operations. More than 30 aircrafts from both the air forces took part in the exercise, with the Russian aircrafts Su-30 MKI and Mi-8 being the key fighter jets.
That we have been operating the Soviet and then the Russian equipment for quite some time. We have a lot of commonality in equipment between the two air forces, and it is always beneficial for us to exercise with the Air Force, whose country is the original equipment manufacturer for the equipment that we fly, and obviously learn the best practices from them and utilize it in our Air Force.
The Russian and Indian Air Forces are enhancing their overall cooperation as part of deepening defense and security ties between the two countries. This was the second edition of the biannual exercise between the two nations, with the first being held in Russia in September this year.
In news from Pakistan, an accountability court has reserved its verdict in two remaining corruption references against Pakistan's former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. The verdict will be announced on December 24th, the revised deadline set by the Supreme Court to wrap up the cases.
An accountability court on Wednesday reserved its verdict on the two remaining corruption references against former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif for owing assets beyond known sources of income. This came after Sharif's counsel, Khwaja Harris, completed his arguments in the case. The counsel said that Nawaz Sharif has never admitted that he received a salary from Capital FZE and his position in the said company was honorary. The accountability said it will announce the verdict on December 24th as per the deadline set by the Supreme Court to announce a decision in Al Azizia and flagship investment corruption references. Earlier, 7 extensions to wrap up the corruption references initiated by the National Accountability Bureau were granted by the Apex Court. The Supreme Court had initially set a 6-month deadline to conclude a total of 3 corruption references in the trials, which started in August 2017.
Experts and academics recently deliberated upon the legal implications of the China-Pakistan economic corridor during a 2-day conference in Germany. They highlighted that illegally occupied region of Gilgit-Baltistan, from where the CPEC passes, is an integral part of India's Jammu and Kashmir, and neither Pakistan nor China have any legal right to claim over it.
Junaid Qureshi, the director of the European Foundation for South Asian Studies, or EFSAS, recently examined the legal implications of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC, with regard to Kashmir and in turn the Gilgit-Baltistan region through which the corridor passes. While speaking during a 2-day conference of South Asia experts and academics in Germany, Qureshi said that in total disregard for the international norms and practices, Beijing has signed the CPEC with Pakistan further complicating, impeding the resolution of Kashmir issue. Qureshi highlighted the fact that Gilgit-Baltistan, illegally occupied by Pakistan, is an integral part of India's Jammu and Kashmir, and neither Pakistan nor China have any legal right or claim over it.
Gilgit-Baltistan has never been formally and legally integrated into the Pakistani state and does not participate in Pakistan's constitutional affairs, as subsequent Pakistani administrations have argued that the Pakistani state cannot officially integrate Gilgit-Baltistan into Pakistan in line with its claimed, yet not practiced, position that a referendum should be carried out across the whole of the region, and that any such step would prejudice its international obligations with regard to the Jammu and Kashmir conflict.
Activists have long raised concerns that the multi-billion-dollar CPEC project has only brought death and destruction for the local people instead of economic opportunities. They also blame that both China and Pakistan are committing war crimes and genocide in Gilgit-Baltistan and Balochistan regions.
Gilgit-Baltistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir have been under illegal occupation of Pakistan for over last 7 decades. Disenfranchised from any political processes, the indigenous people have remained constant targets for the state-sponsored sectarianism and harassment.
A wretched and depressing story of occupied territories of Gilgit-Baltistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir is manifested in the 70 years of institutionalized repression emboldened by the Pakistan's army. Widespreading torture, onerous restrictions over media and routinely exercising high-handedness in order to stifle the voices of dissent has remained a normal in the region. Human rights activists blame Islamabad remains unfazed by the repeated protests and demonstrations of locals. In fact, it has stepped up its intensity in recent times.
हमारे जो वहाँ के मुकामी बाशिंदे हैं उनके साथ जो सलूक करता है वो आप जाके देखें। हमारी औरतों की इज्जत महफूज नहीं है, हमारे घर महफूज नहीं है, हमारी कोई भी चीज वहाँ महफूज नहीं है।
A number of documented evidences of Pakistan Army's brutality, including a wide range of human rights abuses, kidnappings and killings of civilians, have surfaced over the years. Locals also blame the stooge administration of Gilgit-Baltistan for underdevelopment in the region, as they have never been allowed any representation in the so-called democratic system.
Moving on to news from Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan President Sirisena on Thursday appointed a 30-member cabinet days after Ranil Wickremesinghe was reinstated as Prime Minister following a lengthy political crisis. Several ministerial portfolios were changed in the reshuffle, while some former unity government ministers retained their previous portfolios.
Sri Lankan President Sirisena on Thursday appointed a 30-member cabinet in the country, with ministers of United National Front or UNF government being sworn in at the President's Secretariat. This comes a few days after Ranil Wickremesinghe was reinstated as Sri Lanka's Prime Minister, making a remarkable comeback weeks after being ousted under controversial circumstances. Several ministerial portfolios were changed in the reshuffle, while as some former unity government ministers retained their previous portfolios. Mangala Sameerveera was reappointed as Finance Minister of the country as Parliament is considering a temporary budget aimed at avoiding a government shutdown from January 1st. The island nation was marred by a deep political crisis when President Sirisena had replaced Wickremesinghe with former President Mahinda Rajapaksa in late October following differences over policy matters and other issues.
Indian fishermen were chased away by Sri Lankan Navy for alleged poaching in the island nation's waters, claimed a group of fishermen in India's southern Rameswaram town on Thursday. Fishing resumed after 7 days following cyclone Pethai made landfall in the region.
More than 20 boats were chased away by Sri Lankan Navy recently for alleged poaching in its waters, a group of Indian fishermen claimed on Thursday. The Sri Lankan Navy chased the fishermen and even snapped their nets while they were fishing near the Kacha Thivu island after 7 days of not working because of Cyclone Pithai, said a member of a fishermen's association. Cyclone Pithai made landfall on the coast of India's southern Andhra Pradesh province early this week, which left the fishermen starving without fishing in waters.
7 நாளைக்கு அப்புறம் புயல் காத்துன்னு சொல்லி அவதிப்பட்டு பசியும் பட்டினிமா கடந்து கடலுக்கு போனாங்க மீனவங்க. கடலுக்கு போன இடத்துல இலங்கை கடற்பட ஒரு கச்சதீவு பக்கத்தில் மீன் பிடிச்சிக்கிட்டு இருந்த எல்லா படகுகளையும் 200க்கு மேற்பட்ட படகுகளை அடிச்சு விரட்டிட்டாங்க. மீன் பிடிக்க முடியாத ஒரு துர்பாக்கியமான நிலைமை ஏற்பட்டிருக்கு.
India shares an expansive oceanic border with Sri Lanka without any perceptible demarcation, and fishermen on both sides ignore rules while netting their catch. Fishermen from both the sides often breach the undemarcated maritime boundaries, leading to the arrest and detention.
Hundreds of devotees on Wednesday gathered at the famous shrine of a Sufi saint in India's northern Srinagar city to mark his 878th Urs or death anniversary. The occasion was observed by offering prayers and singing devotional songs.
Hundreds of devotees on Wednesday gathered at the shrine of Sufi saint Hazrat Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani in India's northern Srinagar city to mark the 878th Urs or death anniversary of the revered saint. The devotees sang religious songs and prayed in the famous shrine to seek blessings of the 11th century saint. The shrine, also known as Dastagir Sahib, wore a festive look on the occasion, with many street vendors putting up different stalls to attract the customers.
मैं भी तो इसी नीयत के साथ आया हूँ कि गौसे आज़म की जो है दरगाह है यहाँ पर, तो इसी उम्मीद के साथ आया हूँ अल्लाह ताला हर एक की हाजतें कबूल फरमाए, हर एक की दुख दर्द दूर फरमाए, और ख़ुसूसन अपने कश्मीर वतन कश्मीर मुल्क कश्मीर के लिए ख़ुसूसी यही दुआ करेंगे अल्लाह ताला इस मुल्क कश्मीर को पुरअमन बनाए और खुशहाली हर तरह से हो.
The people of the Kashmir Valley have immense faith in the revered saint who was actually buried in Baghdad, but his important belongings, including his relic, are kept inside the shrine, which are displayed for the devotees once in a year on the occasion of Urs. Hailed as paradise on earth, Kashmir is also known as the valley of Sufis and saints, where many religious preachers belonging to different sects evolved in consonance with each other.
An interfaith gathering was organized on Wednesday in India's southern Coimbatore city to promote harmony ahead of the Christmas festival. The event was marked by dialogue on religion, singing of carols, cake cutting and dance performances.
In order to promote peace and harmony among people, interfaith leaders in India's southern Coimbatore city celebrated Christmas just few days ahead of the festival. Leaders from different religions, including Hinduism, Islam and Sikhism, took part in the celebrations with full festive spirit organized at the St. Michael's Roman Catholic Latin Cathedral in the city. The event was marked by singing carols, dance performances and cutting and sharing cake.
சமயம் என்பது மனிதனை மனிதனாக மனிதனை மாமனிதனாக நன்னெறிப்படுத்துவதற்காக தோற்றுவிக்கப்பட்டது நம்முடைய சமயங்கள். நம்முடைய தமிழிலே சொல்லுகின்ற பொழுது சமயம் என்பது மனிதனை பக்குவப்படுத்துவதற்குரியதாக இருப்பது சமயம் என்று சொல்லுவார்கள். இப்படி பல்வேறு சமயங்கள் தோன்றியிருப்பது மனிதனை அறவழியிலே ஆற்றுப்படுத்துவதற்குரியதாக இருப்பது இந்த சமயங்களாக இருக்கின்றன.
Christmas is an annual festival commemorating the birth of Jesus Christ, observed primarily on December 25. The festival is marked as a religious and cultural celebration among billions of people around the world, mainly Christians.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on southasianewsline.com. You can also visit us on facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.